There are a lot of amazing games coming out all the time, and it can be a lot of work to narrow down exactly which ones you should put your money behind, spend the time to learn, play, table, anticipate, or just be invested in. And I've narrowed down a list of 11 games that if I were you, I would feel confident putting my money behind. For a variety of reasons, whether they're going to be incredible gameplay experiences, sell or be unavailable on third-party sites after they actually start delivering, or just come from publishers that are reputable and continue producing incredible titles, which means, in my opinion, we should continue supporting them. These 11 games are the ones that I, without a doubt, am personally invested in and backing, and ones that I can tell you I think you should consider. And every single one of them is currently in the late pledge only stage, which means this video could be your last chance to get a hold of a few of these titles before they start arriving to backers, being talked about on BGG, and sold on eBay for about 3 times the actual price. So let's dive into this. Now, I have narrowed this down to 6 that are newer campaigns and 5 that are older campaigns that will probably be closing their pledge managers earlier rather than later, and I put those at the front of the list just to let you all know. I'm going to do my best to provide links down below to each one of these campaigns, so all you have to do is follow and click if you want to go check out and see the prices and dig in a little bit more. Not all the references I have here go to the kit, and if you want to see all the stuff that I skipped through to get this list down to 11, Board Game Co. put out a beast of a video breaking down 100 campaigns that are currently available for late pledge. And I went through that list and I said 89 of those we'll set to the side. Let's talk about 11 that I think you should back. ISS Vanguard. Coming from Awakened Realms, there's not much I need to say about it beyond that. I mean, Awakened Realms puts out some incredible titles, ambitious discovery-based projects. They've really pressed the line when it comes to things like Tainted Grail or The Great Wall, for instance, which is one of my favorites. Insane production quality, highly successful company, and they're really experimenting with ISS Vanguard here. You have a ship module and an exploration module. Now, the reason why I think you should back this is because it is going to be hard to get your hands on everything fancy. That's just part of the organism of how this works. ISS Vanguard, Nemesis, Lords of Hellas, all of those things will just not be readily available at retail. Awakened Realms doesn't do retail releases. They don't even have a storefront at the moment where you could just buy their games because they don't store them because they're too big and they're too massive. This is going to hold its value. It is going to be received insanely well. It is beautiful and highly, highly, highly ambitious when it comes to this hybrid, when it comes to this exploratory game. Now, the best reason for not backing it is it's going to be expensive, and it focuses on the narrative story when it comes to the exploration a little bit more than straight survival mechanics. It's not dungeon crawl, it's more adventure mode, but the ship module is going to give everyone something to really sink their teeth into. And I know I'm stretching, but if I were you, I would go ultimate all-in Sundrop. I'm just saying, Awakened Realms, they produce insanely beautiful, insanely gorgeous miniatures, and holy cow, you get everything painted. I didn't even see that as an add-on originally. Well, let's just step away from this. Here's the thing. If all you can do is the gameplay all-in, do that. Get some version of this game. It's going to be worth exploring, and like I said, it's going to be hard to get. So if all you want to do is sell it on eBay afterwards, that's also an option. Oros. Oros, late pledge available now. This is a game that I think kind of went under the radar a little bit. Very interesting game that has you moving meeples around this board, building out these islands as volcanoes are filling up and overflowing and land is shifting and moving. Has a really interesting sort of area skirmish control style mechanic on the actual game board, but one of the neatest parts is going to be the player boards that you utilize to actually just maneuver your units. It's worker placement at the heart of it, but you're going to be taking actions with these cute little meeples that are trying to shift around. And if my internet would load any of the pictures, I would love to be able to show you what I'm talking about, but apparently we're not. The reason why I would back Oros, it's not too expensive. It has very interesting and very fun gameplay, especially if you like more of like a Euro strategic puzzle. I think it stands out in the realm of like this genre of game, and I think it's going to be a little bit harder to find or harder to get, at least for the first pocket when it comes in, because I think it kind of went under the radar a little bit. So I would put that on your radar. Voidfall. This is going to be one of those that I am backing and telling you to back largely off of the publisher. Mindclash Games has not always made everything right for me, but in retrospect has absolutely made everything right for me. Insanely ambitious, insanely beautiful, insanely overproduced Euro games. Voidfall is a 4X game for 1 to 4 players that brings the genre to Euro enthusiasts. So 4X, which means you're exploring, exploiting, exterminating, and establishing. Don't know what the next X is, but space opera, giant, ambitious title coming from a publisher that produces some of the most beautifully produced games in the industry. Games always hold their value. I see no reason why I would not get this if you have an opportunity to get it. Well, except for the caveat that they're hard to table. They're big games. They're heavy games. They're ambitious games. So that would be the reason why you wouldn't want to get this, right? If you have Anachrony, if you have Cerebria, and you're not playing it, maybe that's a lesson learned, right? I still think they're worth having, but it is going to take work and effort from you and your game group to get them to the table. But Voidfall is there on my radar, absolutely. With Oros, which we just talked about, the reason why you should not back Oros is because it's coming from like a first-time, smaller indie publisher. I mean, I can't guarantee the final development. I can't guarantee how the rulebook got refined. I can't guarantee a lot of little floating elements here while still saying, or while with the caveat that it's affordable and lovely. So definitely worth considering. Lords of Vala by Draco Studios. This is one that you probably didn't expect to be on my radar, but I really think it should be. First off, affordable. Miniatures from the prototype that we got looked absolutely insane and crazy, and it has a really interesting area control system in it. And for me, I like area control systems that twist the script a little bit, right? That aren't just straight natured area control, and this does that. I don't know. I think you should consider this. What you're doing is you're either commanding an army or taking control and harboring with a dragon. And the players around the table will be harboring either armies or dragons. And you could link up in this weird way where you combine forces, and now victory condition is based off of both of you. And you can kind of do that by force to other players in the game as well. It's a very, very interesting twist on taking a game and forcing it to be collaborative or combative or going to war or having your strategy just to align with or dragon bond with one of the other players. It's really compelling. I did want to see more development at lower player counts. I do think this is going to be best across the board at 4. 2 generals, 2 dragons on the board, smashing forces together. But if you have that, man, it's a lovely game, beautifully produced, and I think a lot of people are really going to enjoy this one. So put that on your radar. But again, I think lower player counts, it might be a little bit weaker. It depends on how it's developed since I played it last. Vindication. Now, all I had to do is go to the BGG page here, because Crowdox seems to be down at the moment, so hopefully it's back up by the time you're actually watching this. But Vindication is this giant game coming from ONEB, coming from Orange Nebula, which put out, again, some of the best games in this industry. All the publishers here that I'm talking about are publishers that I feel comfortable and confident standing by, right? I've had great experiences with them. I've had great experiences with their titles. I think they're going to do things right by you, right? So sitting here is going to be Vindication. Now, this could be the last opportunity for you to get your hands on Vindication. They've indicated that this may be like one of the final big print runs, right? Because they went over the top with it, right? So you can get a ton of expansions. They have a storybook, a module that just opens the world up quite a bit. They have a gameplay system that opens the world up quite a bit. the latest expansion for Vindication should be off the rails. This is one of mine and Board Game Co.'s favorite games. It's easily top 20 for me. It didn't bridge into my top 10 last year. I don't think it's crossed that line for me still. It's a little bit too Euro. I do like the theme and story a little bit more than this game gives, but I hope this new expansion actually introduces some of that'll really compel me. The cool thing about this is it's going to be kind of a cube-pushing game. You're gathering resources to combine resources, to explore the island, to gain cards that build your tableau, to use those cards, to explore more, to snap resources together and cubes together to kind of make this mishmash of victory points and kind of driving an end game. It's a bit of a race game. You're trying your best to move up the victory point track as quickly and efficiently as possible. And then at the end of the game, it'll come down to what you've done, how efficiently you've done it, and all of that. But from what I've heard, from the rumors I've heard, this is probably your best chance and the best price you're ever going to have at the full collection here. And so I see no reason not to get this. The reason not to get it, I think it'll play best with expansions included. So it's going to be a heavier price tag, and you're going to have to put in some work to get to the point where I think myself I will enjoy the game the most. Other reasons not to get it. For Glory. Again, I think reasonably affordable. Now, if you're buying everything together, we start getting more and more expensive. But For Glory is an incredible gladiatorial battle game where you're utilizing cards as a deck-building game. Head-to-head 2-player is the common mode. This expansion introduced the option for 4-player collective or combative and solo as well, which I thought was fun, thought was interesting. I still think base game is where, for me, I like it the most. But I liked mixing in the extra cards, just having more variance when it comes to the gameplay experience. This is one of my favorite 2-player head-to-heads. Really gives me the gladiatorial arena. I love deck-building games. This does that very, very well. It's deep, it's complex, gives you a lot of pathways to play down. I can't speak highly enough of how fantastic For Glory is. So you should absolutely consider backing this. Reasons why you shouldn't back this. 2-player preferred. Keep that in mind for your game group. It is a little gory, and depending on how often you're playing, you can find that you're falling into the same rhythm. I think the expansion is going to change that up a bit, but there is a sequence of strategies that maybe you just have more fun playing. High attack, high damage, cards that you like drafting in. Same with any deck builder that has a consistently rotating deck. You'll find variance, but you'll also find consistency, and sometimes that consistency can get a little bit more dry as you play. Skytear Horde. Skytear is probably my favorite MMO-style board game, right? You're sitting across the table, you've got these warring camps of little minions and units marching towards each other. You're trying to secure different regions and areas and take down the opponent's base, right? It's like Hearthstone or something. I'm forgetting the name. League of Legends? I don't know. I'm forgetting the name. But it does the MMO justice. It does the MMO really, really good. And here, you can get access to, I believe, all of the original Skytear stuff. The mob expansions and everything that's included in there. I personally am going to be picking that up because I just haven't had it all yet. I've only had the core factions. And I think the best way to experience the game is with all those little side modules available and included. But Skytear Horde is actually going to be a card game, a tower defense style card game where you have these waves of units marching towards you and you're doing your best to protect and defend against them. It takes a twist on that, but I think it does the video game style tower defense system really well as well. They're using the art, they're using the assets, they're building out this world. Fantastic company, ran by 2 brothers who just do a real stand-up job. But yeah, I see little to no reason not to back this. I think this is harder to get outside of the campaign. I think you're getting a great value on it. If you like those video games, if you like tower defense video games or mob video games, this is going to be one of the games that should be on your radar. Absolutely. Reasons not to get Skytear. Reasons not to get... I think the Skytear original plays best with expansion so that you can shift up the type of units that you have. A little bit more approachable, a little bit more accessible, and it's fun to kind of mix and match there. So you do need to go ahead and get everything for it. For the tower defense game, for Skytear Horde, I'm trying to look at it and remember, like, what was the major stuff that I didn't like. It's different than the original. It's tower defense-ish. I believe it's like the core functionality of the game was best solo. I had fun two-player, but I did really like it just kind of like a solo approachable puzzle. So keep that in mind. Rolling Heights by AEG. This is now available to back as well. This was a shocking game. This is a game that convinced me that I could get rid of Quacks and Quedlinburg and that I could get rid of Kabutos, which I didn't like Kabutos anyway, but that's besides the point. Rolling Heights is a press your luck game. You're rolling meeples. Those meeples land in odd positions and different things on the board, and you use those to build out this environment, to build out this city, to draft and place down different zones that score you just a cacophony of points. Super fun, super great. This will probably be available at retail, but I believe the deluxified version that AEG sometimes does will be easier to get through the Pledge Manager, easier to get and possibly a better price through the Kickstarter, and this is one that people are going to be talking about a lot when it first comes in. So, if you're excited, or you like being on the edge of your seat, if you see everyone talking about something, you're the type of person that will go out and spend 2 times for it on eBay because you missed out at some point, this one should be on your radar. And if you like Kabutos or Quacks of Quedlinburg, this one, in a lot of our opinions, myself, Board Game Co., Shira, Alex's wife, like a lot of people are saying, this one beats both of those games in some very, very varied, important ways. So, keep that in mind, and go check it out. Next one, Earth by Inside Up. Earth was a shocker for me. I actually just got the prototype back because I'm going to be doing some more content on it because I had a blast playing it. So I sent them a message asking for them to send it back. I'll probably at least do a solo gameplay or something like that. But Earth is this lovely little game. There's all the other titles that you can get from them. They have Summit and a few others. Block and Key, which is very cool as well. Earth is this very affordable, lovely little game. If you like Dark Nova, if you like Terraforming Mars, if you like Wingspan, if you like these games that are like approaching the world through a lens of game and discovery, Earth does that in a really cool way. It really is just a point-generating engine. It's sort of like Point Salad in the you play cards to get more stuff, to just make this little engine that kind of cycles and gets more and more efficient and more interesting as it goes. And the deeper you get into the game, the more strategy and nuance is there for you to kind of pick and print. But this is just, it did incredibly well on Kickstarter. It'll probably be available post-Kickstarter, but probably not for a period of time, because I think this is going to be one that just sells out. I think it just blows up all over the place. Really lovely, fantastic approach to this tableau building, this sort of point-generating, resource-generating engine. Consequences for it. Reasons not to get it. It focuses a lot on everything being good for you. Not everything being the best for you, but everything being good. So there's not always this weight that sometimes people are looking for in games. Like Terraforming Mars, you're making more crunchy decisions, whereas here in Earth, every decision could be fantastic, and you're cycling cards and generating a lot of stuff, and that's fun, but if you want something that is a little bit more cutthroat, Ark Nova and Terraforming Mars probably are a little bit more cutthroat. If you want something that's more approachable and fun, this is probably that. Let's step over Tidal Blades 2, Rise of the Unfolders, and I'm talking about the board game here, not the RPG, but Tidal Blades 2, I wish I had more information here. It'd be nice to be able to see stuff. No, it's going to it redirected me. Sure, fine, I'll show you the campaign page. Tidal Blades 2, why is this on the list? Well, artwork's amazing. James Hudson just moved from Skybound to Druid City, which is his own company, which means we're going to be seeing more and more dedicated titles like this coming out. And this is a world that he's going to be able to invest in and really harbor. The artwork here is incredible. The production quality is going to be insane. Tidal Blades, the original, was hard to get your hands on the deluxified version after it actually came out. I ended up giving my copy to my friend Sean, and I desperately now want to find another one because it is a lovely game that I wish I had again to play, and all you have is the retail copy. There will be retail versions of this available, I guarantee it, but the reality is, if you want the miniatures, if you want the deluxified components, if you want it to be as nice as stuff does, Druid City does some of the best quality productions in our industry. And this one is going to be a love letter to the new company that James is now running, that is started, right? So this one's going to be head over heels, amazing, incredible, and very hard to get your hands on after everything is said and done. Why should you not back it? Well, it's going to be a story game. Where are we? All right, this is where we are. It's a story game, right? It's an adventure, and it wasn't always as challenging as I wanted it to be. I really like the program on your personalized boards. I'm excited to explore the entire narrative of the game. I do want to make sure that the challenge ramps up in some areas, but there were some moments that were just super weird. Like we had this thing where we were fighting a robot that was spinning around the board, and we were trying to like modulate and balance and take it down as it was just spinning out of control. We weren't even fighting enemies. We were just trying to like hold back this creature or this articulating robot. So there's some really great wow moments, really great story and kind of branching narrative. I think it's going to be approachable, kind of Sleeping God style in terms of how approachable the campaign's actually going to be. And then finally, my coup de grace, the final on my list, number 11, which is probably the one that all of you already know about. So that's why I saved it for last here. Final Girl. Final Girl did insanely well. $2 million raised. Lots of people love this game. Reason why you should pick it up. The first version of it sold out immediately. Insanely hard to get your hands on. They timed the launch of this one perfectly. It is an incredible solo game. Gives you this weird, haunted, kind of exploratory feeling where you're trying to survive. It is insanely random and lucky sometimes. Sometimes the dice roll just screw you over. And so keep that in mind as you approach it. Like, it's not always going to be fair. It's not always going to be balanced. But it is going to be a storytelling engine. If you like those fantasy tropes, if you like those horror tropes, if you like, Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th and all that stuff, this is this love letter to those games. They have these storybooks that are super fun to read through that just give you atmosphere and character. And the big bundle here, there is no way these big bundles are going to last long at all once it arrives. You might be able to find core boxes sometimes. There might be stores that order some things, but like the epic all-in, gone. It just won't exist by the time you actually decide that you want this. So, I would advocate for backing it. Again, it's a solo game. It's got some randomness. It's got some negativity on it because of that. Like, it's not always going to be fair and balanced and treat you well. But neither did Jason or Chucky or any of the people that are in those villain shows. They always have everything swung slightly in their advantage. I mean, think about some of the stuff. I'm not gonna get off on the tangents. I'm just saying. So, those are the 11 games that you have one last chance to back. Not 100, Alex. So many games, ridiculous. 11. That's still too much, probably. All right. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.